Hi, welcome back everyone to our show here at the Peachtree Cafe. It's day 3 of our program. We're filming live from the Peachtree Cafe studios affiliated with Thanksgiving Day Productions. So we're going to go ahead and welcome everyone back. Today, look who's in the studio and who decided to show up for work today, everybody.
Hey.
Juan Hasso.
Hello, everybody. This is Juan Hasso here. I'm glad to be here with Daniel. Many guests around. Geshe Michael is somewhere as well. Thank you for having me here. I think what happened actually after like this whole month of pre-production, I think I come to realize that I may be a little allergic to work, because it's really unbelievable. The very day that I need to be here, a few days before I got sick, but now I'm good, ready to go. Let's have fun.
Yeah, we're ready. Today we have a very exciting program coming to you. It's the 3rd day of the Peacock Warrior program, and we're lucky enough to still have Seiji in studio helping us, but today, and Noor, but they're going to give their time to Geshe Michael today. So we get to see Geshe Michael for a 60-minute teaching this morning. We'll be taking a short break where we'll have our slideshow again with all the QR codes. So please be ready for that. And then we're going to have a question and answer with Geshe Michael after the break. So please, what we would like for our members of the audience to do is to be ready with questions. All you have to do is click on the Q&A at the bottom of the Zoom screen and send us your questions. So we'll be picking on those questions after the break. All right, well, let's go right over to Geshe Michael Roach.
Let's do.
Hi, welcome back, you guys. And it's a pleasure to be here on New Year's Eve morning in Asia. And I have a nice group of people, friends here. And we're going to have a nice New Year's Eve together. Try to stay around till midnight. And I know you Asia people are sleepy, but come on, it's New Year's Eve. Everybody stays up till midnight on New Year's Eve. We got Maitri in the studio today. He might sing some poetry, and he's very welcome. Okay. So I'm going to read that poem one more time, the same poem. And I'd like you to just relax. I think all of us are appreciating. Geshe-la, slow down. The translators are having a heart attack. I think all of us are appreciating poetry a lot more. And in the modern world, we're always so busy. And I think it's really nice, this poetry thing where we can just relax and sit back and listen to a poem that's being read to us. I listened yesterday, especially to John Brady's beautiful poem. And I just enjoyed sitting back and relaxing and having somebody read to me a poem. Before we start today, I wanted to say, I got some really good news about the Kachin book, Johnny O, last night. And those of you who know this book, I wrote a book, I don't know, 25 years ago called, what was that called? Yoga, How Yoga Works. And that's a story of a young lady in ancient India who gets put in prison. And then she slowly turns the prison into a paradise by doing yoga, by teaching inner development to her jailers. And I wrote that book during my 3-year retreat in 2000 to 2003. And what most people don't know is I wrote 2 books during that time. And there's another book called Kachin, which actually tells the story of how this young lady grew up, how she learned the Yoga Sutra, how she came to be a master teacher. even at a young age, and a Geshe. So that second book, which we just published, is called Kachin. You can see it here. The reason I'm mentioning it, by the way, it's an ebook, it's an audio book, and it's a paper book. The reason I'm mentioning it is I got word last night from our Russian-speaking friends, both in Ukraine and in Russia. And our friends have been working together to translate this book together, this Kachin book, partly to help the refugees who don't have income. So Diamond Cutter Press and other entities have been helping to pay those people as they are outside of their country. They don't have food or travel, ways to travel, or places to stay. And I got word last night that the Russian-speaking group, both Ukrainians and Russians, have finished the translation yesterday into Russian and into Ukrainian of the book Kachin. So I'd like to give them a hand. And those people who are actually inside the zone of fighting have said that during the translating, sometimes in a bomb shelter, it helped them a lot to understand where this violence comes from, and especially if someone does violence to us or to people we love, then what should we do? You know, what are we supposed to do? And we're going to go for about an hour here. Then we're going to take a 10-minute break, partly so you can have a bathroom break and a little snack break. But also, during the break, we show photos of the children of people in the Worldview Network. So you can enjoy these beautiful photos of children in the Worldview Network. As we mentioned earlier, we'll be having a Chinese New Year's show. I believe it's January 21st and 22nd. And if you'd like to send in more photos of children, first of all, please make sure that the parents give permission, because we're not allowed to show photos of children unless the parents have given permission. But if you would like to have your kids' photos shown, please send them into the show. We'll be showing you the Peachtree World News QR code, how to get to our website to send us those pictures. And it would help a lot if you give us the full name of the child in the picture. And this time we're going to put the name on the picture. We'll also be showing QR codes of events coming up in the next few months of our Worldview Network organizations. We have over, I think, 15 different organizations. Just one of them has branches in 25 countries. The press has branches in 35 countries. So there's lots of stuff going on. There's lots of exciting programs, and we'll be sharing those slides with you during the 10-minute break in about 50 minutes when we hit the hour. Until then, I'm gonna go back to this poem. So please sit back, maybe close your eyes, relax. And I'm just gonna read this beautiful poem to you. You heard it twice now. And I'd like you to watch your mind. It's like a dream, okay? And see what images are coming up as I read the poem this time, and I'll try to read it slow. Just close your eyes and try to see what images are coming up in your mind. And then we're going to talk about those images. And we're going to talk about how to make this new year, 2023, how to make it a year of peace in the world, how to make it a year when where there's no conflict, in my world and your world. As you know, from the pen story, which I'm not going to teach you, don't get nervous. I'm not going to pull a pen out of my pocket. I'm not going to say, what would a dog see? Like a chew toy. I'm not going to go into how the human sees a pen. I'm definitely not going to talk about how it seems to depend on who's looking at it, what it becomes, which makes us believe that the pen and the whole world is actually coming from my mind. It's actually coming from the seeds in my mind. That's important for our discussion today. That's important for our poetry today, because it explains where conflict comes from. If there is conflict in my world, even on the other side of the world, or next door, it must be coming from me somehow. And if it's coming from me, then each individual person on this broadcast or listening to the recording, you do have some capability to stop conflict in 2023. This is not a hippie poetry show. We're talking about very practical, international method on the level of the United Nations. I think better than the United Nations, about how you and I could stop conflict in 2023. Wouldn't that be wonderful? How do we do it? You know, let's just try during this next hour, and then especially during my conversation with the two MCs, Daniel and Juan. Let's talk about, what do you and I have to do in this new year? We still have a couple of hours in Asia. We have a whole day in Arizona. How can we plant the seeds to stop this conflict? Seeing all these different kinds of conflict. We have a serious, the worst conflict in Europe since World War II. And we have a lot of tension building up between Asia and the Western countries also. And it's a dangerous time. And it's the kind of time when later generations ask the question, why didn't you do something? You know, why didn't you see it coming? So it is coming, it is here. We can't ignore it anymore. You can't pretend that you're not affected by it. And if there's a way that we could fix it or change it together, even those of us on this call, boy, wouldn't that be wonderful for your children and your grandchildren, right? Suppose World War II had been prevented before the real fighting started, then 100 million lives would have been saved. And that's a big thing. Okay, sit back, relax, think about the poetry. See what images come up in your mind. You might want to close your eyes. The lady who came to me, Namo Saraswateya. I bow down to the Lady of Song. This is the song of the gods, verses in praise of Saraswati, Lady of Song, goddess of words and melody. I bow first to the conqueror, the Lord of the spoken word. The blue Lord melted, and the wish-giving sea surrounded me. Crystal bubbles struck from lines of gentle sea waves smiled upon me. I stood upon the shore of liquid treasures, sheltered in silken cloth by the child of the lake. The contours of her skin shone as a babe's. The meadow was green, lapis stealing my heart, gleaming jewels spilled from the moon. She was clear as a flock of stars upon the road to deathlessness, bathed in nectar, pressed from an emerald. The feather's soft hand, lovely, exquisite, sipping the water of earth from the soles of her feet. Touched by the messenger who cannot be seen, but breathing soft. The woman, wild in passion, gestured. My mind was torn to her. Lotuses spreading wide, young and lovely, she danced. Branches in a soft wind. Tendrils from the heart of a flower. The vault within, where the falcon flew. The inner bloom was smeared with honey. The young bee forced the river of the throat to rise. The forest beckoned, deep green, parrots wing. A glorious crystal palace, fire of total bliss. Dancing window to the salt of a white lotus. It lay atop the majesty, shining in the nectar. 1,000 rays from each of 100,000 jewels in the sky. A 1,000 jewels in the sky. Okay, you can open your eyes. So I want you to try to remember what images came up in your mind while we were reading the poem. That's the first half of the poem. And in my case, some memories came up of a time 50 years ago when I was on a beach with a friend at night, listening to the waves and those sounds coming in. And then the images that came in my mind, they have changed over the years. Different images come to mind. And I see that person in different ways throughout my life. And that applies to conflict, okay? That has a big connection with the conflict we see now. As we know a person longer and longer in our life, we start to see them in different ways. And then sometimes, I don't know about you, but, and it kind of depends on how well my daily practice is going. So if especially if I'm doing my morning meditation regularly, and I'm keeping a book means I'm tracking my daily behavior. I'm checking to see if I've been good during the day, especially at the end of the day. We have a tradition called Tundruk, or 6 times book. And throughout the day, we check what we're doing, and we write down the best thing we've done in the last few hours, and we write down the worst thing we've done. Personally, nowadays, I'm tracking 10 different things that I'd like to work on. If you are keeping those practices, meditation, if you are tracking how you're acting towards other people, if you're careful to spend some part of the day serving other people, and especially if you are thinking about emptiness, right? Then you are storing every day, every hour of the day, you are storing new images in your mind. Then when you listen to the poetry, rich images come up in your mind, very beautiful, precious images start to come up in your mind. If you are doing good things all day, if you yourself are being careful to be a good person all day. There's another activity you can do, and it relates to an interview that we're going to have today with Mr. Nick Lashaw, I believe. And Nick is the head of the Diamond Cutter Classics translation group. The assistant director is Ben Kramer. And these guys, for 6 years now, they've been translating books, 12 different books. And those books are unusual because they cover every major period in the history of Buddhism since 2,500 years ago. There have been many, many periods, right? So certain groups have certain schools of thought, certain belief systems have come up, and then they've been popular. It's like rock and roll songs. They stay popular for a couple of years or 50 years, and then inevitably they fade away. And these ideas, these schools of thinking from 2,500 years ago up to now, from Gautama, 2,500 years ago up to now, there have been about 12 great periods of exciting ideas, okay? And they kind of divided pretty clearly. Those 12 periods are divided from each other pretty clearly. And our goal with the Mixed Nuts program has been to translate and bring into the modern world one book each from each of these great periods. Each period lasts 200 or 300 years. And it's interesting that those classes, and by the way, there have been now 1,100 classes in the last 6 years. A tremendous effort by this team. And as far as I know, a group effort like that broad, has only happened once in history in one place. And that was during the Tang Dynasty of China, about 1,400 years ago. And during that time, there was a crazy Chinese guy. He asked permission. His name was Shenzong, by the way. He asked permission of the emperor to go and see what was happening as far as ideas in the countries connected around China. And the emperor said, no, you cannot leave the kingdom. And if you do, I will have your head taken off. But he was so devoted to great ideas that Shenzong secretly walked across the Gobi Desert because there would be no guards there. And he left China and he walked through the Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Nepal for 17 years. He learned many languages. He ended up in a place called Nalanda in northeast India, which is probably, until Diamond Silk Entrepreneur University, it was the greatest university in history. And he ended up there. And he was taught how to debate. And he actually became one of the greatest debaters in history. And there's an interesting story of how he defended his school in a foreign language, in Sanskrit, in a foreign university, ancient university. And he was the victor. And he was declared Mahadeva, right? Or the great god of thinking. Right? Then he walked back to China with 1,000 books. And when he reached Chang'an, which is the capital of China at that time, which is now called Xi'an, the emperor said, I told you it was a great idea, which is what emperors always do. And he said, you're so great, Shenzong, I'm going to give you your own tower. And he gave him a huge high tower. My wife, Veronica, and I have visited that tower. And inside that tower, he translated, I think about 20 years, he translated 1,000 different important books. I don't think anyone has translated that quality of material and that quantity in a single place in history since then. But I have to say the Mixed Nuts are doing it. And you're gonna have classes coming up, I think January 6th to the 29th, 6th to the 19th, with 2 break days. You have an opportunity to sit through 60 classes, each one extremely deep, each one very difficult. And what happens is that your mind is swimming in these great ideas. And by the way, we'll be showing you a QR code. You can sign up. And Nick, of course, will be talking about the program today on the show. why am I talking about that? When I close my eyes and listen to this poem, I have, because I've been sitting through over 1,000 hours of the greatest ideas in the last 2,000 years, because I've been swimming in that, every day, almost every day, I spend, my wife knows, sometimes 2 hours, sometimes 10 hours inside those books, swimming in those sweet, sweet ideas. So when I listen to the poetry, I get a combination in my heart, in my mind. I have a combination of personal experiences, and some of the best ones, well, the best ones were with my wife. We've known each other for 52 years. And whenever I read this poem, I start thinking of times when we were teenagers at the beach in California at night, in the ocean or with the waves. But mixed with that, always comes up these sweet, beautiful ideas from Nick Lashaw's Mixed Nuts group. And I gotta say that it's extraordinary, you know, and that happens to me all day long. These ideas are just coming up in my heart and make my life extraordinary. That's why with the new business university, entrepreneur university, we're going to combine a lot of those mixed nuts ideas classes. We call compare and contrast. We're gonna not just learn about finance and human resources and business development. We're gonna product development. We're gonna talk about the deeper ideas behind your life and compare a modern business university with this ancient wisdom and contrast. Where are they the same? Where are the modern ideas great and useful? And where are the modern ideas not enough? And where do you have to go deeper? So for me, when I read this poem, that's partly what's happening for me. I'm having these visions come up. I'm having these deep ideas come up. And I feel uncomfortable almost. Why? Because those classes are happening 3 times a year. We do almost 200 classes a year. We go so deep. And then I feel bad that more people are not enjoying it, or they're not having those experiences with us. So I really encourage you. It's not for money. That program loses money very happily. It's not for money, and it's not for some kind of religion or something. It's for beauty, almost a poetic beauty. So if you swim in that particular ocean called the mixed nuts wisdom, if you swim in that ocean, then something will happen to you when you hear poetry like this. Something will come to you, experiences that you never expected. And those experiences will help you stop conflict in 2023. If you are swimming in those beautiful ideas and this poetry, then I believe you will understand the answers to all your questions about conflict. And conflict is not an easy subject. My wife and I have been talking about it for a couple of days at the breakfast table. There are difficult questions about conflict. There are deep questions about conflict. It's not an easy thing. It's not something you can decide easily. And by the way, if you personally have questions, especially about conflict or how to achieve peace in the world, we very much encourage you to post them in the chat here. We have Seiji here, who's a master question picker-outer, and he'll be going through your questions. You can start now if you want, especially questions about the nature of conflict. What am I supposed to do if someone attacks me or my country or my children or my wife or my husband? What's the right thing to do? And I hope you'll write your questions in during the rest of my talk right now. We have about 20 minutes or something. And then after the break at the hour, we'll take a 10-minute break, and I'll be answering those questions in a discussion format with two of my Peachtree World News colleagues. Okay. One more step, okay? What happens to you if you swim in that kind of wisdom? You know, if you are constantly coming to mixed nuts classes, and we're going to be talking about the Peachtree Warrior Project. They'll be having Seiji and Noor and myself. We will be continuing through the new year of 2023. We'll be continuing the Peacock Warrior Project, which is a grand combination of poetry from ancient Middle East, Persia, Turkey, Iran, and Turkey, and also the Arabic-speaking countries. And we'll be combining that with great poetry from ancient India and ancient Tibet in West China. So we'll be covering during the year. We'll continue with this Peacock Warrior Project. We'll be having, basically, you'll have a chance to get some more poetry a couple times a year. And then, of course, in the Chinese New Year's, January 21st and 22nd, again, we'll be doing poetry from the studio here. And we'd kind of like to emphasize Asian poetry, Chinese poetry, especially Chinese language poetry, because that's the Chinese New Year. So if you have poems that you really enjoy from around the world, but especially if you are familiar with some great poetry in Chinese language, we encourage you to send it into the show. Now, my suggestion, if you are doing your daily practice, if you are meditating on a regular basis, if you are checking your behavior all day, if you are swimming in the mixed nuts books, if you are actively helping people in need, poor people, sick people, people affected by conflict, then something starts to happen to your poetry images, okay? If you do your daily practice sweetly, if you do all these, regular meditation practice, I would say a regular physical practice like yoga. Me and my friends, we go to the gym, we do yoga for, 15 minutes, then we do some other gym stuff. We run on the treadmill or we lift weights, and then we do some more yoga. If you have a physical practice to keep yourself healthy, if you have a meditation to keep your mind healthy, And by the way, more about that physical practice if we take Yoga Studies Institute programs, YSI. And they're having a great program at the end of January, going into a new book. So I hope you guys come to that. You have a physical practice, you are serving the poor, you are serving the sick, and you are swimming in those ancient ideas. Something will happen to you, okay? And it's spontaneous, it's automatic, and it's a funny process. They call it the diamond world, okay? And by the way, these poems that I've been reading, they're from a new book called Poems of the Diamond Way. Diamond Way means because your practice has been sweet and because your practice has been regular, then as you go through your day, unusual things will happen to you. And there's a movie they play at Christmas time in the holiday season in America. There's a movie. They always show it during the holiday season. What's the movie? That's a Wonderful Life, but also no, what's the little yellow brick road come from? The Wizard of Oz. No, they always show the Wizard of Oz. And I remember I was babysitting two kids. I used to be a nanny when I was at Princeton University. The last year, I didn't have any money at all. I was driving a truck to make money, and I was babysitting two kids so I could get a room at their parents' house. And the parents would leave. I was meditating well, serving the poor. I was collecting clothes every day for refugees in my truck company. We would drive under the dormitories at Princeton and honk the horn, and people, these rich kids, would throw their extra clothes out the window from the third and fourth floor to the truck. And then we would box them up and send them to refugees. And then I remember with the children, I watched this movie called The Wizard of Oz. And for me, it was a Diamond Way experience. I was having a Diamond Way experience. What does that mean? Okay. And how does that relate to conflict? Diamond Way experience means you start getting messages, sweet messages from the world. Okay. You start getting amazing messages from the world. It almost seems as if the people around you are already Buddhas, you know, like it's this strange, beautiful place. And I think maybe it's even the goal of our practice, books. There's the sweet place you can reach if your practice is regular, that you start to feel like the people around you are Buddhas, you know. And so I used to babysit these two kids. They were 2 years old and 4 years old. So Seiji, I do have experience with a 2-year-old, okay? By the way, the 4-year-old used to have temper tantrums. So maybe you got something to look forward to. But I, you know, and I didn't know anything about kids. I've never had kids, and boy, I learned. And we're sitting watching this movie on the TV with the two kids. And suddenly I got this strong feeling that they were both already Buddhas, you know, like one's 2 years old, one's 4 years old. The 4-year-old throws temper tantrums every hour, like clockwork. They have both memorized all their children's books. And when I read the books to them to put them to bed, if I skip a page to try to get the thing faster, they'll say, no, you skipped a page, because they memorized the stories, you know. I say, oh God, then I have to go back and read that page. And it was hard. It was really hard. And I didn't know anything about kids. And but it was the most beautiful thing, because there would be nights when I felt like they were both Buddhas. One day I was meditating in my room. So this house had 3 stories. It's an old Princeton wooden house across the street from the university. Einstein stayed in the next door house. And these are faculty and other houses. Beautiful, beautiful old houses. And because the family only had 4 people, they let me have the 3rd floor, a big room on the 3rd floor. So I would be meditating up there, and the 2 mischievous boys, they would come up the stairs. I could hear them, you know, and then it's an old house. I think it's from the 1800s. And I decided I would just keep meditating, and I would not move, no matter what the boys did, you know. And I would sit there, and I would not move, and they would wander around the room, and then they would tweak my nose, or they would hit me on the shoulders, and I didn't move. And it went on like that for a couple of days. And then finally, one day, they both sat down and meditated with me. So then that became a regular thing. I would do my meditation, and these 2 boys that I started to feel to me like Buddhas, they would meditate with me. The ones who had given me all this grief and trouble every night, they started meditating with me every day. And recently I got a message from one of them. He's 30 years old now. He's a stockbroker in Wall Street. And he said, do you remember those days? I still meditate, you know? And I'm like, whoa, that's really nice. You know? Why am I talking about that? If your practice is good, you start to have these spontaneous experiences, and you don't need an initiation, and you don't need an empowerment for this to happen. I guess it will help, but you will have these spontaneous experiences that people around you are special, and people around you are trying to help you. Now, there's 2 kinds of people around us. There's nice people, and there's not nice people, okay? So Grandpa Mike, from 70 years old now, I used to say 69.9, now I have to say 70.1. I can tell you from a long life that, of course, no matter how long you live, you will meet some really special people, and you will meet some really challenging people, some very, very difficult people. I remember, for example, I got hired in the diamond business. I tried to get a job, and I finally got a job. I think it was 1981. And I got a job in the diamond business. And one of the owners of the company was a very, very rough person and a very difficult person. And we even had a joke in the company. When you show up at work in a diamond business, somebody has to let you in. There's the double security door, and it's called a man trap in between, and it has bulletproof glass windows. And you go in the man trap, they lock you in there, and then they check you with a video camera. So the first person you ever meet in the morning in a diamond business is the man trap operator. There's a different person who just checks people and lets them in. Make sure both doors are closed, check the person, open the inside door. And we had a joke. We had a fun joke. We'd say, the first thing we'd all say in the morning to that person, we'd say, how's the weather? How's the weather today? And it was a joke inside the company, and it meant, is that irritating vice president, is she in a good mood today, or is she in a foul, nasty mood? And it was about 90% nasty mood. And it was hard. It was a very hard thing. And my friends, one of whom is here, we've been friends for that long. They used to ask me, do you get paid good there? And I'd say, not that good. You know, Princeton graduates, $7 an hour, you know, and they'd say, well, what's going on? They're taking advantage of you. You know, my close friends used to say, oh, they're taking advantage of you. You know, they're hurting you. You're worth 100,000, you're worth 200,000. They're paying you $7 an hour. Why are you staying there? And I stayed there for how many years? I'll give $100 if you can give me the right number. 19. I stayed there for 19 years. And people ask me every day, you know, my friends said, what? Why do you stay there? They're taking advantage of you, you know? And I would say, no, I'm taking advantage of them, you know? And they say, no, you're not. You don't get paid. You're worth $500,000. They're paying you 100 and something. I'd say, no, I'm taking advantage of them, you know? And they'd say, why? And I'd say, I'm serving them, you know? I'm helping them succeed, you know, for 19 years. I'm helping them to be successful. I'm not worried about how much money I make. I'm here to serve them. They give me a chance to serve them, you know. They're not taking advantage of me. I get a chance to serve. And it's beautiful and it's wonderful. If someone takes advantage of you, apparently, what it means is they're giving you a chance to serve. They're giving you a chance to be generous with your lifetime, with your money, with your attention. They're giving you a chance to give something to somebody else, you see? So I personally don't feel that it's possible for a person to take advantage of us. If we have a tantric state of mind, if we have a diamond way state of mind, and we find someone who lets us serve them, we're the ones who are happy. We're the ones who are getting what we want. We're the ones who are successful, because life is all about serving other people. So in the case of conflict, we talked about it the other day. I just keep seeing in New York City, you're walking down the street on a cold day, and it happens in New York, especially in the subway, right? Somebody pulls out a gun and they're like, give me your wallet. You know, you're like, okay, I'll give you the wallet. They trained us in the diamond business. And it happened to me once. You just give them whatever they want. You don't fight, you don't say anything, you smile, you have a good day, take my wallet, take my diamonds, you know. And And then suppose they say, give me your coat. Give me your coat also. And then you give it, And then there's that difficult advice of the Christian teacher, Jesus. And he says, when they steal your coat, ask them before they run away. Hopefully they don't shoot you, right? Just say, would you like my sweater also? Do you need a sweater also? That's the advice of one spiritual leader, and they all pretty much the same in the world. Would you like my sweater as well? So in the diamond way, in this highest way, which you can reach if you go to mixed nuts regularly, it's a great opportunity. It's a blessing that someone comes to you and does you the honor of taking advantage of you, or taking away the things that you have. And the reason you have them is you weren't strong enough to give them away already, right? They take away your things to help you and to make you be a good person and to share what you have. And in that sense, that person is a Buddha, okay? If that person demands something of you that you cannot give, takes from you something dear to you, even the dearest things, then in one way, they are your teacher. They are a holy teacher, and you're so lucky to get mugged by them. You're so lucky to meet them on the subway or something. You're so fortunate to run into this Buddha who helps you share what you were not strong enough to share before because you still have it, your coat. So it's possible that in a case of conflict, the people hurting us, the people taking things from us are helping us. They are not taking advantage of us for 19 years. They are giving us a chance to serve deeper and to reach new levels of sharing. And I repeat, we have a book about sharing, The Art of Sharing. It's a sutra that I translated. Johnny, I don't know if you have that. This book is free. It's a translation we just finished this month. It's a beautiful sutra about sharing. And it just do the thing on the QR code, aim your cell phone camera at the QR code and do the necessary. And you have to ask for the book. Apparently, that's how the website works. You have to ask for the book and then we'll send it to you for free, okay? And that book is all about sharing what you were not strong enough to share already. And maybe you will run into some Buddhas who are trying to help you to learn how to share. I'm going to finish the poem and then we'll cut to the dos guapos, the two handsome guys, and we'll take a 10-minute break. I'm going to finish this poem. Lean back, close your eyes. Enjoy. Maybe a Buddha is talking to you through me. Okay. All right, here we go. See what images come up in your mind and trust them. Maiden mad in passion, the atoms of her body, each a towering mountain. Woman of wrath, woman of beauty, conch shell ivy twining. Glancing at me, masses of deathless nectar, splitting open the Lord of cooling light, the knot of her hair. The knot of her hair lifted to the sky, bearing flowers, flower necklaces. Flower necklaces, soft wind of her hair. All it a wing of white spreading over me, arms of the divine. You, shining in your body of the sky alone, face with two beckoning knees, slanting, lovely. Had it not been fingers all together, any one would have done. A shining leg, thoughts unshaken, a diamond opening. When you're pierced 1,000 times, what does anything else mean? Pleasure garden lips, smile of bliss, a thrill up the spine from newborn crystal dancing. Pearl white peering soldiers in file. Sweet whispers flying to the caves. Masters who drink the flower essence, maidens of the divine musicians, awake from their sleep amidst the clouds and flee. The womb of gold stands abashed and turns to pretend to meditate. Finger bracelets of precious jewel, exquisite, embrace her tight. A pair of hands, soft, tender. Sapphire lotuses lift the secret lute, singing out sky's summer drum. Lifting forth that sweet burdened breasts, firm and flowering, ripening maiden, crowning jewel. Deep contemplation in bodily form, what better spear to shake my heart? Saints long since free from longing, gaze on the wonder of your holy body, shining and forget themselves. Peaks piled from softest bubbles, dressed in strings of pearls. Her blouse, dancing silk of the gods, soft, sheer, enough to shame the 1,000 feathers of the blue Lord. She shines in ruby, lovely, true, but the gossamer skirt enfolding emerges the victor. The universe at play, 10,000 heart-stealing forms. Realm of the youth, 8 pairs full, forever unshifting. Woman of the victors, past, present, and future, bliss itself, I bow to you. Skull trees planted in the source. I will think of you sometimes, that shining light of your sacred form. And I pray that by this simple thought, 1,000 rays of crystal light, knowledge that sees the entire galaxy of things that can be known exactly as they are, flies to every living being and rips from them the darkness of ignorance. And lastly, now I beg, O Lady of Song, your blessings. Let the explanations I give turn to jewels that adorn the ears of those with clear minds. Let the debates I unleash split open the brains of those who dare to speak wrong. Let the books I write become a necklace that all the wise wear upon their throats. This has been written by myself, the monk Lobsang Chökyi Gyaltseng, in the 14th year of my life. Okay, I'd like to switch over to the Dos Guapos. I call them the 2 handsome guys. And they'll be setting us up for our break. Daniel, Juan.
Thank you so much, Geshe. Very, very beautiful poem and words, teachings. Thank you for sharing this with us. So next we are gonna go to a break, 10-minute break. During that break, we're gonna be showing you some advertising for upcoming events. Please have your phone ready because those contain the QR codes. So if you see one that you like, you can catch it right away and get more information about it.
And don't forget that we're going to put up the QR code to sign up for the Peachtree News Show mailing list. So if get that QR code, please send us your info. We have a field for name, we have a field for which city you live in, and we have a field for your email address. Once you guys send us that information, then we'll be sending out the instructions on how you can, we'll be sending out the schedule for our next show and all the other information pertaining to the show. We'll be sending out the recipes for the mocktails later, so stay tuned for that as well. Yeah, we were a little sloppy.
Create beautiful emails with free Gmail templates. Compose a new email and click the Insert Template button.
Hi, welcome back to the Peachtree World News, and I have a pleasant duty before we start the Q&A. I have special envelopes to distribute to special people. We bought this cafe 2.5 years ago. We've been fixing it for 2.5 years. We have an extraordinary crew of people who have put their blood, sweat, and tears into this building and this project for 2.5 years. And my wife, Veronica, and I, who are the co-owners, you don't want to get up here, right? She's too shy to come up here. We would like to hand out, of course, we have holiday bonuses for the entire staff tonight. But today, during the show, we have a special letter for the guys who worked for the 2.5 years, okay? And it says, Lifetime Cinnamon Award from the Peachtree Cafe, December 31st, 2022. With grateful thanks from the ownership of Peachtree Cafe for extraordinary service to the cafe. This letter grants lifetime privilege of 1 free coffee and 1 free cinnamon roll any day that the cafe is open. To Mr. Daniel Garcia.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter who's managing, right? This is like, doesn't, politics won't change this, okay? This is her life.
That's why it says, okay, we have another one for Mr. Mark Salustro. If you're listening from your New York holiday with your relations, I'm gonna give this one to Daniel to hold for you. If you don't collect it, I keep it. Same story for Dennis Moore, who has built the beautiful garden here, and with our grateful thanks to Dennis. Probably see him this evening, I think. There's been another person really working hard here, John Oizen, and I'd like to ask him to come up. He's also helping run the whole show. And he's worked really, really hard on all of this cafe, and he's been commuting up from Phoenix, which is like a 4 hours round trip. And we're really, really grateful to you, Daniel. So anytime that you can come, you're welcome. There's another person who has had the hardest job of anybody, which is to, handle the finances, handle the ordering, handle all the most difficult jobs. With grace, with good humor, with a smile on her face. Rosa van Grieken. Thank you. Your face. Yeah, there's your free coffee for life. Yeah. None of this can happen without my personal assistant for about 25 years, who's been juggling all the finances. Thank goodness for her. I don't know where she finds the money, but Venerable Jigme. So. Don't spend it all in one place. And Miss Melissa Sim, who's our bookkeeper, accountant, and she's been sweating for bullets for 2.5 years, and somehow she pulled the money from different places, and she'll be coming in later. We'll give this to her. Okay, back to you guys. I think we have some questions.
Yeah, so Juan, you want to take us away?
Yeah, people are sending their questions, and we would like to address them to you, Geshe, and see.
Wait, to you.
Well, we'll figure it
We'll
out.
answer it together.
Okay, question number 1.
Sorry.
Did
you want to start with a special question, Geshe? This is not the special
I
question.
forget what this
So the conflict that we were going to discuss?
Yeah, no, I covered it.
Okay, we're good. Okay, we're good. Sorry.
Okay, Let's read the list then. Question number 1. Is this the poem that you share with us? Also mentioning the experience of touching the diamond world? Is it the case? That's...
What do you guys think?
Maybe he's talking about a Diamond Way experience he's having.
You have an opinion?
I think we will have to define what diamond world is talking about in this specific context.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, you were talking about the Diamond Way in the sense of a very beautiful, magical place where beautiful things happen to us that help us to keep growing. So I guess some people may argue that that could also be referred as a diamond world.
Yeah.
But traditionally, you usually talk about the diamond world as this place of emptiness, right? So
I
don't know.
I got an idea.
Depends on who's listening, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. What do you mean when you say that?
Well, the question says, is this poem also mentioning the experience of touching the diamond world? So that's like saying, is this really a pin?
Good.
In my mind, because you know, it depends on who's listening. If it's true that this pin is coming from this way, then what you hear in the poem is also coming from this way. And so I guess you would have to ask, is that poem a Diamond Way poem from its own side or not?
That's beautiful.
I think we covered that. For me personally, when I start thinking about touching the diamond world, it's in the verse that says, crystal bubbles struck from lines of gentle sea waves smiled upon me. When I personally, because I've been going to the mixed dust classes regularly, because I have to, I tend to think of emptiness when I got to that verse. Maybe you guys thought about emptiness in a different verse. Definitely. Hey, Seiji, you got another question for us?
Yeah,
Oh,
another
fine.
question here. Question number 2. Somebody says, my aunt, not my aunt, but that person's aunt, has 2 sons.
I like your
Girl, yeah, I like her too. My aunt has 2 sons, she said, or he said. One of them is very kind, always helping people. The other one always bullies me, his mother, and everyone in the family, screaming, fighting, and fighting for good things for himself. So what should my aunt do to change the situation?
Got an idea?
Oh man, that's a
Can you summarize the question again? I mean,
Yeah. Basically, this person has an aunt with 2 kids. One kid is very good kid. The other kid is very, I don't know, violent or how do you say tantrum?
throws tantrum.
Yeah.
he hurts people to get what he wants, it sounds like.
Yeah, selfish maybe.
Yeah.
So what the aunt could do to change that? That's a very interesting question because, you know, I have some friends that when I come with these kind of questions, like, yeah, what my aunt should do, and they will say something like, who's perceiving that aunt? So it's like what the aunt should do or what you should do or what I should do if I see you doing these things. So I don't know what the approach should be. What do you think, Daniel?
Me, wow, I think she has a mixed bag of seeds ripening. She sees one son as very good and she sees one son as not so good. So she has some good seeds that she can work with. And so I think if we're talking about how to work on the seeds which are producing her experience of her bad son, then it's good to focus on removing the obstacles in her mind that are forcing her to see that. And so there's a lot of different methods that she can apply, including finding somebody else who has problems with someone in their family, and she can help them find ways on constructive advice that she could use from the DCI system, for example, on how to plant seeds to change that, what she's seeing in that person.
What do you think?
I think something, and I would like to ask Geshe, what do they do in the old traditional system of education when the little kids bad behave?
I'll tell you a funny story. There's when my teacher was the abbot, the highest position, there's only 5 in the world at any time. And when he was the abbot of where I spent my Geshe program, there was a very bad kid named John Young. And I remember little tiny bad kid. And my teacher decided to make him his project. And my teacher was living in the highest apartments in the monastery on the top of the temple. This is the abbot's apartments. And he let that little kid move in. And every day he had the kid up on the roof reciting Omar Batana. And that kid recently finished his Horama Geshe. He's now a 30-something-year-old, excellent Geshe. So I would say there is this practice of actually giving more positive attention to the bad boy, because he's used to not getting positive attention. He's used to the other kid getting all the attention. And the 2 kids that I babysat when I was in college, I purposely tried to give more attention to the bad boy. And he's the one who turned out really amazing. So that's my idea.
Wow, so you're saying you kind of took a Diamond Way approach, it sounds like, huh?
Yeah.
You saw him as an opportunity to plant more powerful seeds.
Yeah. And I realized that of the 2 kids, the other one, the good one, was always getting attention. He played in the Christmas Carol play at Princeton University when he was a kid. So he was perfect kid. And the other one was a bad kid. And I gave more attention to the bad kid. I say give more attention to the bad kid.
Yeah, and I have here also this approach of becoming a good example, like embodying the qualities that, okay. just give. No, but sometimes I feel kids listen to you when they admire you. If they don't admire you and they don't respect you, they don't listen. But then if they find you like a role model, attractive, like you offer them also the qualities that they would like to reach, then it's for them easier and natural to do what you want them to do, because they have, this appreciation and connection and admiration that may come to give them more attention.
So if you're more sharing, and you set a good example for the boy or the child who doesn't want to share, who always wants to take, you keep sharing and sharing. Sooner or later they get it by osmosis, by being around you. Let's go to another question, Mr. CG. Oh, sorry, Hassan.
Yeah. You want to read this one?
Sure, here's a good question. It says, if you have a really bad habit and it's really hard to break the cycle, how do you stop yourself if you can't even stop for 1 second?
Don't ask me this. You guys have to.
Oh man, this is a good question for me. I should work on stopping more of my bad habits. And so I'll answer this so that I can create the seeds for this. So sometimes I am lazy and I'll watch more TV than I should. So I heard from Geshe say that one time, if you have a really bad habit and it's really hard to break, set a small goal for yourself on stopping doing that habit. So don't say, oh man, I never want to do this anymore, so I'm gonna never do this again. And it's easy to get excited and to overpromise when you want to stop yourself from doing something. but then you see yourself break the promise and then you feel bad about it. So it's nice to just set yourself up. I mean, hopefully the question, I'm not going to take it literally that you can't stop for 1 second, because if you could stop for even 1 second, then you can rejoice that you stopped for 1 second, and then you can start to create an upward spiral. So by rejoicing in the short amount of time in which you were able to stop, it'll create a habit. And then that habit will make it easier to stop again in the future. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I was saying, like, if they cannot stop for a second, try half a second. And yeah, I mean, I have tried that myself, really. Like, I'm sometimes I feel like I want to do something and I'm not sure if it's actually the best thing that I could be doing. But you know, but then I hesitate just for a moment, like, okay, but let me first do this other thing. Maybe before I start, let's say, watching TV, let me do the dishes, or let me make the bed, or all right. And the sooner I finish, the sooner I'll be on the TV. But then, you know, but then I do something that both helps me to, you know, kind of improve my day in some way, but at the same time stops me a little bit before doing that thing that I'm not sure if I should be doing, you know? And then it's great. It's really great. It's really great. So yeah, try to also understand, why do you feel that craving or that intense need, and try to use that energy, that intensity, or to channel it to do something else, do the dishes, do something, and then, all right, you decide.
I like it.
Okay.
What's the next question? That's a great answer.
We have, okay, this question. Dear Geshe Michael Roach, because,
And team.
yeah, and team. Because we have followed all your karma of love instructions, me and my friends have been visiting our parents, aunts, and children alone. Oh, what? Yeah, children alone for several years. So we have met wonderful men, and the 3 of us are going to get married in 2023.
Whoa,
Fer Jimenez, Sara Maldonado, and Ana Luis.
Whoa.
They are from Mexico City.
Congratulations.
Yeah. We would like to ask you if you can give us your blessing during the Guadalajara retreat in July. Thank you very much.
Wow. You know,
We just put Geshe Michael on the spot, folks. We
I'm
didn't
happy.
expect.
Yeah, we didn't know
I
that.
love weddings. We had a retreat in Thailand or Bali, I don't remember. And teacher Jasmine from China brought 10 couples who gonna get married. And we stood on the beach, and wow, 5 beautiful ladies in their white dresses and 5 handsome men in their tuxedos. And we did a marriage ceremony for all of them. And Grandpa dressed up. So I'm happy to do it. I agree. In Guadalajara in 2023 in the summer, when you're there doing our ACI retreat. I'm happy to do it. Tim Lowenhouse here, he's going to figure out a nice time to do it, right? Okay. All right. Yay. Congratulations.
Yay!
But Grandpa has a $10,000 deal. You know that.
Uh-oh. The caveat.
I do the marriage, I do the wedding for free. But if you get divorced within 1 year, you pay me $10,000. Okay. So 366 days. All right. All right. Go ahead.
Now you choose one.
Okay, so let's see. Somebody wants to know, what should they plant in 2003 in order to be able to have a similar experience with the one described in the poem? So that's a big
2023.
2023, yeah.
You guys.
What do you think, Geshe?
No, I want to hear you guys. I know what I think.
All right.
Oh, okay. Well, for me, the thing is, like, this poem was written when the author has 14 years old.
Yeah.
So that's something that really struck me. And I was thinking like, well, when I was 14 years old, what was I doing, right? Like not even nowadays, I have like that.
Bite to the candy store.
Exactly. You know, like not even now, like I have that little like, how to say, a spiritual IQ. So like now we're gonna need a very powerful seeds to change, you know, like to go from the level that I am at to reach that. Well, I guess I will have to do something very powerful. And I think it's related and connected to everything that you mentioned, Geshe. We have to keep up our practice, really, because the other day I hear a funny joke, like somebody say like, yeah, well, we teach meditation. It's not that we do it, really, you know. So I think it's important to do it. It's important to do it. And if we give ourselves really the chance to keep a daily practice over the year, and do our exercises, and keep doing our studies, and keep helping people, serving, I think beautiful things start happening little by little, when I've been trying hard, I have had little tastes. I mean, not like the poem, but little things, and they encourage me. So I think it works. I think it works if we really commit to a daily practice and keep trying to be better and better people. Things start happening. You may be surprised, but you have to give it a chance. What do you think?
What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think that was the perfect answer. It was basically Geshe had answered this question for us in his talk earlier. Basically, he was saying, how do you enter the diamond world? And so again, I'll repeat what Juan said. You know, you have to have a practice. You have to be serving the poor. You have to. I'm sorry, I forgot the four, but let's do it together. Help me. So meditation. Exercise, serving the poor, and studying the mixed nuts,
and drinking coffee from Peace Tree Cafe.
Cool. So those four have been repeated to us over and over again, and so we have to just continue to do those in our daily life. Find a way to make it just a habit, even if you're not a scholar. Just start working on your heart and loving people, and be suspicious that everyone around you might be there to teach you something. And then, you know, we will have those experiences maybe next time when we're 14.
I have one more to add. Today you heard about this strange idea of the strange new practice that we didn't really talk about before, which is that letting someone else take advantage of you as a practice. And I don't mean abuse, okay? I'm not talking about if someone's being abusive or violent or any way, you know, it's that kind of thing. I'm not talking about abuse. But if someone's a little bit taking advantage of you, I don't know, in different ways, financially or different ways, you know, that they make you wash the dishes every meal, or, you know, you have to always make the bed, or, you know, if someone's taking advantage of you, and which is the root of conflict, which is what breaks peace in the world. So if you, in a controlled way, in an intelligent way, and not taking abuse, by the way, if it's abusive, you don't do it, but turning it on them and saying, gee, I'd love to wash the dishes every meal. And then taking that as an honor and taking it as a practice. And then finally getting to that place where you can see that they might be helping you by letting you be taken advantage of. It seems like we all have the karma today to be talking about this kind of practice. So I would recommend that one, and maybe you get to where that 14-year-old went to.
Great.
Nice.
Woo! Can't you choose something easier?
Sure.
Oh man. Okay, so this question says,
How can I help my husband clear out his bad history?
That sounds like a good excuse to teach about the 4 powers of purification.
You want to go through those? You two guys?
You got
while
it?
I take a
Sure,
break?
sure. You want me to?
Yeah, you're
Okay,
good.
all right. Yeah, actually, it's very interesting because, as you may know, the Diamond Cutter Classics has a Thursday show called the Mixed Nuts Reading Club. And lately we have been going through pieces of the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. Very, very beautiful book that I know Seiji Arao and you, Geshe, are gonna be working with very soon. So in that book, Master Shantideva talks a lot about purifying ourselves. And he does it in the context of getting ready to achieve this powerful wish to reach our highest potential, to serve everybody else and to help others to do the same. So he says, but if you wanted to achieve that, first you have to clean yourself. So he talks about 4 very powerful steps. Step number 1, you are supposed to take refuge in the sense of remembering what are you trying to do. Remember how reality works. Remember that everything that you say, you think, how you treat others basically is gonna create your reality. Just bring that to mind and set back your intention. So then step number 2 is also called intelligent regret. Like you understand, okay, I may have done this. If I had a chance, I will do it differently next time. Or I understand that what I did is not the best thing to do. So, like it's going to create certain results and that's not what I want. So you just, by understanding, decide that that was not a very good idea. Okay. Then number 3, you restrain yourself to don't do it again for a very realistic period of time, right? Yeah. Like if it's something easy that you do by accident, on and on and on, just don't swear that you're not gonna do it ever again in your life because it doesn't work. I've been there. But then say, I'm not gonna do it like for a week or for a day or, for a few hours as well. That's called the restraint power. And lastly, you try to balance, they say, the seeds. So you do something virtue, something good. And it's very interesting because in this particular presentation on the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, it's super strong, very emphasized that one of the most powerful antidotes is keep studying and learning more about emptiness. I would like to ask you guys, why do you think that's the case? Like, why specifically learning and understanding and keep going to your mixed nuts classes gives so much power to purify yourself? Any idea about that?
Well, I have an idea that comes right away, which is that, since we're on the subject of conflict, to me, when you say something's, now just get used to this. If you don't learn anything else for these 3 days, get used to one thing. When you say something is empty or emptiness, what you're really talking about is dependent origination, which means everything in my life is coming from how I treat other people. Everything in my life is coming from how I treat other people. The big question about conflict is not so much how you react to conflict. It's understanding why it showed up in the first place. Like, why did this conflict show up in my world like this in 2022, and then it suddenly disappeared in 2023? This war and this tension between countries, it's empty, which really, when you say it's empty, and studying emptiness is the ultimate antidote, I think it's understanding that every person you meet and every single thing you read about in the news is coming from you. And that's emptiness. That's the meaning of emptiness, how you treat other people. Everything you see in the world, even international events, and every person you ever meet, even terrible people you read about in the news, somewhere that's inside of you already. And then you gotta dig it out. You know? So that's my answer. That's the emptiness answer.
Awesome.
Cool. You got another question?
Beautiful.
Or what's our
Thank you, Geshe. Well, let's see, what other questions can we ask here? Let's see here. We have, I don't know if we want to read that one. Let's see. Okay, well, how can, Geshe has answered this question many times, but it's nice that we have new viewers who are asking us questions, because as a rule, you're supposed to repeat things as many times as is required when you're trying to help somebody. So let's do this question. How to find and get married with the ideal guy?
Well, me and Juan are already.
Well, so you're gonna have to settle, okay, because Geshe and Juan are already taken.
Yeah.
But if you want the
Just taking me.
looks like Juan's back on the table. Okay,
Well, I
so
don't know.
so they teach about the seed system in the DCI organization, and they talk about how to plant the seeds. There's 4 steps, right, that they talk about in the DCI system on how to plant what you're looking for. And so a very quick, simple explanation on how to find your partner, which is first you decide what you want. And it's very clear in this question that they're looking for a partner. Now, the ideal, that's a little more complicated, but let's just stick with the partner. And so you find somebody else who's looking for something similar. So I'm sure you probably have a friend who's also looking for a partner. Everyone in this world is looking for a partner, so it's not that hard. You find somebody else who's also interested, and you take them out for some coffee. They say in DCI to take them out for a 1-hour coffee, and you dedicate a small portion of your time to them. And so for that 1 hour, you work on creative ideas with them. Maybe you teach them about the seed system as well, and on how they can find a partner. And then the third step would be, so you decide what you want, you find somebody who wants it. The third step is actually taking them out for the coffee. So we've covered that. And then the fourth step is rejoicing. So you then go home in the evening time, and before you go to bed, you review the time you spent with them, and you allow yourself to be really happy that you're serving them, that you're planting the seeds for the thing that you want. So you're finally actually planting the causes to get that partner at this point. So then you should be really happy. And they say it's like a mama chicken laying on the eggs. When you're happy, the seed warms up, and then the seed starts to grow faster. So that would be a quick, short explanation on how to find a partner. Now, if you want the ideal partner, you're going to have to go to the DCI classes. So all right, so you guys should sign up for the very next DCI event whenever you have a chance. Whoever asked that question.
By the way, I would emphasize that, you know, being a DCI teacher, going around the world with Seiji and his team, what I've learned is people fail on step number 4. Many people in the world have trouble, and me too, when I go to bed and I put my head on the pillow and I immediately start worrying about stuff, you know, like, oh, I don't have enough money, or this guy's causing problems, or, you know, what's going to happen next week. And it's really difficult. And that's the definition of meditation. It's difficult to get your mind to go where you want it to go. Your mind is like a bad dog, and it's on a leash, and it always wants to go somewhere it's not supposed to go. And you got to pull it back and say, hey, get back here. And I've found through, I don't know, 12 years of teaching BCI, that people have trouble with step 4. And it's just when your head hits the pillow, struggle to think about the good stuff you did today. And by the way, if you fail and you just can't do it, then at least you can think about good stuff you saw somebody else do. And so if you have trouble doing step number 4 on your pillow, coffee meditation, then if you have trouble thinking about good things you did, and I don't know why, but we resist thinking about good things that we did. We feel like we're proud or we feel like we're bragging, and it's not. It's healthy. And at least think about good stuff you saw somebody else do. And then you get in the mood, and then you can think about something else you did yourself. Any questions? More questions?
Sweet. Okay. So do we have another good one coming up?
Yeah, I would like to read this one. I don't fully understand it, but it may be interesting. It says,
Sounds like the scriptures.
hello, Geshe. That's what it says. How to deal and heal a head skin disease that result from a divorce.
We need to examine the question.
A head skin disease?
Yeah, that's what it
They're
says.
saying,
Don't ask me about that.
from their perspective, they're saying that their head skin disease resulted from their divorce. So we have to examine whether this question is even correct. Sounds like.
Oh, yeah. What do you mean?
Well, it seems that they're implying that the divorce caused their head skin disease. And so they're asking how on earth do they deal with their divorce being the cause for their head skin. But it sounds like it's a misunderstanding taking place because we would say that like makes like, right? So the seed system, one of the rules for karma is that something bad can't come from something good. So in this case, both of these are bad.
Divorce is a good thing.
No, good, you got me.
No, I'm just joking. I understand what you're saying, and I agree. I agree where you're taking it.
You're taking it.
No.
Divorce is not a good thing.
No.
But I would say that unless you specifically harmed somebody's physical body during your divorce process, you didn't necessarily plant the seeds through the divorce for your head skin disease. So that's what I'm trying to say. So the divorce in itself, just deciding to get a divorce doesn't mean you're going to get a head skin disease, right? A head skin disease comes from having harmed somebody in the past physically. So if you were physically violent during your divorce, which hopefully nobody is, then that might be the cause for your head skin disease. But if you weren't, then you should be looking for a different cause.
Now, how do we fix it? I mean, the person is having a head skin disease. They thought it may be from a divorce because maybe it's like this thing about the, like you plant something here, then this happen, and then this ripens. And you think because this one is closer to this one, you think this is the cause. But truly the cause is over here. So that's very interesting to look at. And I really like what you say. I mean, I was joking. But let's see, how do we fix this one? Because at the end of the day, this is what we want. This is, I guess, what the person wants. Yeah, it's important, I think, to understand where it comes in, where does it comes from? And maybe that's actually a big step on how to fix it.
Well, something that affects your physical appearance should be related to
patience.
Yeah, getting angry. So maybe not the divorce itself, but maybe showing anger in the months and years before the divorce. That could cause that hair problem, that head problem. How to fix it, you guys?
How to fix
Short
it?
answer, not that 4-step.
Don't get angry. Try to be the art of not getting angry, right? The other way of saying to be patient. don't plant the seeds to upset other people.
I think, you know, when I tell myself, don't get angry, Geshe Michael, you know, you're gonna be ugly next year. It doesn't work. If I, or don't be angry, it's not nice. It's not nice. You know, you're a teacher, you shouldn't get angry, you know. So that, I'm like, yeah, okay, then I get angry. But if someone told me, you know, if you do get angry, everybody won't find you attractive, or they won't find you nice, or something like that. You know, people will see you the wrong way. Then that's kind of scary. That's kind of, wow, I don't want that, you know. So I think that helps if you think about the correlation. Yeah.
And I think again, doing our daily practice is a great antidote to getting angry in many different layers, but one of them is like an easy one, just because you are quiet doing your meditation, you are not getting in trouble. But really deeper than that is because you give yourself time to think about where events in our lives are coming from. And then, yeah, maybe I got upset with this guy at work the other day, but you know, when I'm doing my meditation, my practice, I kind of think, okay, when have I done similar like them did, like they did, or how can I approach it in a loving, wise way? So really doing our practice, I think, is a great antidote to prevent anger in general. But I have a question regards this. Is this, let's say, if they have a head skin disease, can we approach it just as a beauty problem or also as a health problem? Like, is it connected as well to protecting life or only to anger? Like, how does it work in this sense? Is it a combined thing or?
I think combined. So if there's an element of ahimsa, if there's an element of non-violence or violence, how would you fix that? Suppose that they have this disease because they have not respected life, the first of the 10 good deeds. How would they work on that?
Question, do you have anything to say?
I have an answer.
Please.
If you were in a cafe, for example, that made cinnamon rolls, and that was famous for cinnamon rolls, and for 2.5 years, when you're working at the cafe, cars stop outside and say, are you guys gonna open for the cinnamon rolls? Like, very soon. And it's interesting that we have a special project called Peachtree Healthy Eating Show. We take a thing that's not healthy, which is the cinnamon roll that was famous at this cafe, and we made it healthy in a special way. We took out cruelty products. We took out the cruelty products. So in the cinnamon roll that this cafe is famous for, we have the big chef here, by the way, Flavia. We took out the milk and the animal products, which are the result of cruelty, and we replaced them with almond milk, for example. And so I think that's a simple change you can make. You can stop eating meat, stop using products that hurt other beings, and then that might be an answer for the disease part of the problem. Right? Yeah.
Great.
And we're going to be talking more about that today.
Well,
Sweet. Well, that brings us to the end of our question and answer, folks.
Nice job.
Thank you very much for joining us and sending in your questions. We're going to take about a 5 to 10 minute break. Be ready again with your telephone in case you miss any of those QR codes. And then we'll be back with the rest of our program. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Very beautiful.
Sounds like too much Nick.
welcome back. Welcome back. Hope you enjoy your break. You did everything you had to do. And here with us we have one of our tech table person, one of our very dear friends who has been helping us for the whole month of the production. This is Johnny O. Welcome.
Hi everybody. I'm so happy to be here. I didn't expect to be out here. I was like hiding behind the table, but they wanted me to be up here, so I'm really happy to share my face with you. Here it is, and we're gonna share some love and happiness. What do we got going on?
All right, so now we're gonna start. Well, thanks again for everything you have done. He has worked very tirelessly. Well, sometimes tirelessly, sometimes not so tirelessly, but very nicely, very beautifully.
Sometimes with some tiredness.
Yeah, sometimes with tiredness, as we have done. So thank you. It's very nice having you here.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, we're gonna move to watch some songs and poetry, and then we're gonna maybe play a little game with them. So let's start with the first one. Let's see.
Я отпускаю струны напряжения. Я ощущаю внутри духа пробуждения. Я не ищу побед, а просто следую движению. И в каждом шаге слышу внутреннего звука отражения. В спонтанном танце невозможно поражение. Я не одинокий лист, а жизни продолжение. И пропускаю сквозь себя души кружение. Я открываюсь новому витку преображения. Опадает пелена черно-белой прозы. Пробивается росток сквозь замерзший снег. Растворяя страх, льются счастья слезы. Ощущаю, сквозь меня льется чистый свет. Ты дитя света вечного.
You are a
Вспомни
child of a light.
импульс духа, что
Remember it,
пришло
the
от мира
impulse
света.
of the spirit
Хоть и
that you
связан ты
have.
крепко цепями формы.
You are very much linked with the
И помеха
necklace.
не в том, чтобы начать
And the
сиять.
mistake is not that you don't want to shy.
Ты не один, когда
You are
одиноко.
not alone when you're feeling lonely.
Не все, что видишь глазами, истинно.
Not everything you see is true.
Посмотри на исток отражения в зеркале.
At the mirror,
Что мир создается твоими
that the
кистями.
world is being done by your hands.
about that?
Beautiful.
Yeah, there something deep was going on there. I didn't understand it, but I felt it. There was something really sweet.
Yeah, very beautiful. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't speak Russian, but I think that was Russian, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I bet those words were load of at least passion. It's interesting that sometimes you can tell, right? Even we don't understand the words, but the emotion and the energy behind them.
Yeah, music definitely has that power to go straight to the channels, to go straight to give you a feeling and give you a transmission of an energy, and sometimes it's quicker than thinking.
Yeah, so by those of you who don't know Johnny O, he's a great musician and performer, right? You have many years of experience.
Yeah, I'm pretty
like-
great. No, I've had the pleasure to have many great teachers to teach me how to express myself and to be on a personal journey to use music as a way to impart vibrational information, like to open your heart. So yes, it's a practice that's very dear to me.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much. Well, let's keep going then with this activity. We have more poems that we would like to share with you. And after the next poem, I would like to invite anybody here from the audience who wants to play a game with us to come over. Any of you is welcome, just come. And we will, because poetry in a way is like a very conducive way for open interpretation. You know, many words are like almost like hidden, or they may have more than only one meaning. And it's beautiful, as Daniel was explaining with the pen. It also depends on what seeds do we have, the way we're gonna get the messages from poetry. So at the end of this next poem, if any of you wants to come over and play with us this game, we're gonna try to interpret some of the verses of the poetry. And also the audience is welcome to type in the chat, what do you think this specific part or this other verse may refer to? Okay, so let's go with our poem and then let's go with the game.
Hi, my name is Manuela from Germany for MSI. And this is what worldview means for us. Please call me by my true names by Thich Nhat Hanh. Don't say that I will depart tomorrow. Even today I am still arriving. Look deeply, every second I am arriving. To be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest. To be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive. I am the mayfly metamorphosing on the face of the river, and I am the bird that swoops down to swallow the mayfly. I am the frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond. And I am the grass that silently feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. And I am the arms merchant, selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl refuge on a small boat who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea parrot. And I am the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo, with plenty of power in my hands. And I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so fast it fills the four oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and my laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, and so the door can be left open, the door of compassion. We wish you a very peaceful and beautiful new year 2023.
Okay. Interesting. How did you like it?
Well, it was a few things. I tried to listen as Geshe recommended and let the images from my past flesh out the words. And I remember there was at one teaching, Geshe mentioned the caterpillar and what would it look like for an enlightened being to take us from our present situation and put us somewhere where we could metamorphose, if I'm saying that word correctly, to change into a caterpillar. And if we were that caterpillar being picked up by this giant hand, it would be a very terrifying experience. And we wouldn't know. But we can't understand what an enlightened being has in store for us. So when I saw caterpillar, I felt that feeling. And then as they were speaking of the beauty of these beautiful scenes that were happening, I thought of how I would hear a good song and I would be jealous. I would think, why can't I make a beautiful song like that? Or I would see someone having some beautiful quality and I would think, why can't I have that? So then, but then after studying emptiness, I realized that those qualities were coming from me and I had those qualities. And that beautiful song was mine that I created. So I felt peace with that. But then the poem started talking about other things that were a little heavy. They were heavy, right?
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
started to cry because as I was having this thought that the beautiful things were coming from me, the heavy things are also coming from me. So a realization of how much further I have to work. So those are the things that happened in my heart.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I'm so glad that you are here because this game came up perfectly. Thanks to you. Thanks to you. Now, the thing is, like, we would like to keep playing, but we have a special interview waiting for us. So, as you may know, Niklas Scholl, the director of Diamond Cutter Classics, is here with us digitally today, tonight, whatever you are. And he will be talking to us a little bit of what he's doing. So let's go. Is he around?
Hi, this is a poem for peace by one of my favorite poets and musicians, Leonard Cohen. It's called Anthem. The birds they sang at the break of day, start again, I heard them say. Don't dwell on what has passed away, or what is yet to be. Ah, the wars they will be fought again, the holy dove she will be caught again. Bought and sold and bought again, the dove is never free. Ring the bells that still can ring, forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in. We asked for signs, the signs were sent. The birth betrayed the marriage spent. Yeah, the widow head of every government, signs for all to see. I can't run no more with that lawless crowd, while the killers in high places say their prayers out loud. But they've summoned up a thundercloud, and they're going to hear from me. Ring the bells that still can ring. You can add up the parts, but you won't. You can strike up the march, there is no drum. Every heart to love will come, but like a refugee. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in.
All right. So actually, we may have time for playing the game again once more before Nick is here around to be interviewed. For this one, I like something a lot about the crack in everything. And as you say, it also brought me back to some teachings that I have here before about called the cracks in the wings by Master Nagarjuna. It was very, very beautiful teaching about how sometimes if we go through life just like doing our daily things, regular life, normal things, things seems okay. Things seem like, okay, yeah, they work. I want a coffee, I go to the machine, push some buttons, it works. I go to my computer, type some things, press the key, the message goes on. But then if you start looking closely, there is what is this beautiful saying? Like if you don't look too close, things are okay. But if you go look closer, you start finding out that things don't hold.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing to I think this crack allows, as the song says, oh look who we have here. He may be able to tell us what he thinks about this poem. But for me, it's like this crack allows us to see the light and maybe eventually touch that diamond world that we were talking about before. What do you think? Hey, Nick, welcome.
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you guys.
So good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, I didn't even recognize you guys.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit like what did you choose this poem and why it's like so dear to you? What does it mean to you? How do you connect it to what we are talking about?
Well, I don't know. I think it's hard to describe a poem in kind of clear intellectual terms, only because part of the magic of poetry is that it weaves this kind of picture that's a little bit more ethereal than you could pin down. It kind of dances around a topic, but I really relate to the idea of cracks to let the light in. Like I feel like as we go throughout the course of our lives, often the world can make us harder and more cynical and more like tough and resistant to change and kindness and love, and more firm in our resolution to take care of ourselves only. And then I think that I feel like the truth of the world, as in accord with what we all study, is that our happiness depends on each other, and that the only way we can find freedom or happiness is through kindness. And I guess I relate with the cracks as being kind of like cracks in that rough exterior that we develop over the course of our lives that would allow the light to come in and out, like a little bit of, what do you call it? Like weakness, or a good kind of weakness. There's a word I'm trying to remember from engineering. I studied engineering. But like failure points or something like stress points that would allow the truth to flow in and out. Yeah, somebody wrote vulnerability, and it's like those are always there, and that's why I relate to what Leonard Cohen is saying. there's always some hope, no matter how hardened and cynical we get. So I relate with that. And there's a line about how love is going to come, but like a refugee. And I think that that's really cool, because it's like, it seems to me like he's saying the truth is always going to win in the end, like love. The truth is going to defeat war and hatred in the end, but like a refugee, like we're going to, because humans, we put up such a fight, like we go down kicking and screaming. So love is coming, but love has gotten all beat up in the fight, but it's still going to come. And I don't know, I just kind of relate with all of that. And I feel like it kind of, in a way, describes our situation. It's earlier here in California, so I'm just having my morning tea.
Thank you, Nick, so much. At first, when you say that part of the beauty of the poem is kind of not to rationalize or use that much intellect, then I was feeling you're saying like you basically just ruined it for everybody, when I was trying to do that. But after listening to you, I think you have a very, very potent mind, very, very, and then I'm guessing if that's connected maybe because of the books that you are studying and the books that you're translating, that you're capable of doing all these, how you connect so deeply with poetry that in a way I totally agree with you, is many times it's beyond words and it's something very beautiful and special. And then because of that, we would like to know, like, what are you doing? Like how can you do that and connect it with the project you are running called Diamond Cutter Classics, right? Have you heard about it?
I would like to know more. So we're wondering might be wondering out there, why is Nick Lashoff there? What's so cool about him? So we want to know. Well, Nick, tell us what's your title and what's
your income?
Why are you so cool?
All right, thank you guys. Thanks for putting it that way, because that suggests that I am in fact cool. And as I get more and more of a dad, I make terrible jokes. I feel less and less cool. So my role with Diamond Cutter Classics is the director, and so I kind of been on since the beginning. And in a way, I feel like I was part of helping inspire Geshe Michael to start this program, because he was teaching me translation already. Like, we were just kind of doing it informally, like whenever we could find a few moments, in a cafe in Arizona or on a bus in Taiwan or wherever. And it just, more and more people kept showing interest. And then he started Sedona College of International Management, and I was helping, and we were talking, and he was like, why don't we start a program? There's more people interested in translation. Like, let's make this thing formal. I was like, okay, that sounds amazing. And what we do is we translate books, like lots and lots of books. Oh, I was just checking if those signals were to me or... Oh, I lost you guys. You guys are muted.
Okay, so keep talking.
Oh, okay, sure. So we started a program. Where we're translating. It started with, I believe, eight translators, people who are very interested in learning the art of translation. And our mission is basically to translate as much of the classic work that's contained in the ALL database as we can. And we know that this is like a multi-generational project. It's probably going to take hundreds of years. So we have to get good. And we who are the first generation of translators learning from Geshe Michael have to learn how to, we have to learn the art of translation, but equally as important, we have to learn the meaning of the philosophy contained in these books so that we can accurately translate, and then we can accurately pass on the skill of translating this particular kind of literature, because it's hard and it's important and it's powerful, but it's important to get it right. It's because the meaning is what's crucial about these books, because the meaning is what can help us change ourselves from, cynical, hardened human beings stuck in this kind of life that we know into, beings who are happy forever and kind, and changing the world into a kinder and more gentle and loving place. So that's our mission. So we teach it too. And more.
And so I got some feedback to try to speak slow for the translators. I always forget, but I'll try.
Okay.
You are about to have a program, and we have just a few more minutes before we start our next activity, but we would like to nail it down, Nick. Tell us about the upcoming program. What is it about, and how people can participate on it? It's something about to happen, right?
Yeah, starting January 6th. So it's January 6th to 19th, and maybe we can put a QR code on here for people to join. Everybody's welcome to come, and I really encourage you all to come. We do a translation program, and that is where Geshe Michael, it's the moment that he takes his time now to teach us the art of translation, the language, and mostly the philosophy contained in these old books. And it's the same ideas that have been being studied and taught for thousands of years. So I would say over the course of humanity, it seems from looking at all these old books that people are dealing with a lot of the same problems over and over again, a lot of the same issues that we have today. And there are people who made it their life's work to dive into figuring out how to deal with these problems. And it gets very complex, but just the layers of ideas and things that people have come up with to help us solve these problems. But there's so much philosophy about and practical philosophy, like things that we can put into practice now, contained in these books. So we're learning how to unravel the ideas. And what's really special about this program is that Geshe Michael, who I would say is, the best translator alive of this stuff, one of his particular skills is that he makes it understandable for anybody, and he makes it relevant to our lives today and practical. So that's the art that we're learning. But when you come, he's explaining the ideas that way. So you can take these complex philosophical ideas that people have been wrestling with for thousands of years, and you can understand it right away. So we can build on the progress they've made. We can use the progress they've made. And when you hear these books, when you're fortunate enough to hear these ideas straight from Geshe Michael, there's a lot of magic in there, a lot of magic. And that's amazing. And so I would just say that, coming to this program, the translation program, it's kind of like getting a window into Geshe Michael's mind, and through his mind, getting a window into the mind of these incredible masters who were studying. And it's like as if you had the chance to sit, because this is what Geshe-la does. This is his favorite thing to do, sit in his house and do this. So it's like getting to sit in his house with him all day. for a bunch of days in a row. So if that was ever something interesting to you, if you ever thought like, oh, I want to find a great philosophy teacher or, a great master of scripture, and I want to be able to sit and listen to him describe, the ideas that can change me and change the world, this is the program for you. So that's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you so much for showing up.
Of course.
And just remember, this program is exactly what Geshe Michael was prescribing as the medicine to make those beautiful things that we hear in the poem happen to us. It was part of the equation to keep imbuing ourselves with these beautiful and powerful ideas that will really affect our perception of the world. Thank you. So yeah, I'll be there for sure.
Oh, good. In fact, I'm counting on it.
Nick, it's my brother. Nick and I started teaching in Phoenix a long time ago. So it's just, Nick, you are very dear to me. I am so happy to see you. I love you, man.
Love you too. I miss you. I'm going to call you now that I've seen you.
Thank you for doing what you do. For those of you who want to know more, there is a link in the chat, and it's also showing on the screen the QR code to find out more about this amazing program. To be in the room with a master translator, it can't get any better than that. If translation is in your bag, then you should be there. So.
Yeah, please come. And by the way, I'll just say, you don't have to come to the whole thing. If you register, it's a reasonable price, I think. You can listen as much as you want. You don't have to do any homework. You don't have to do anything. If you sign up, you can come to as much as works for you, and you will benefit just from listening. So give it a chance. It's amazing stuff. Oh, muted.
To your family and say hi to the ocean for me.
I will. All right, good to see you guys.
Take care, Nick.
All right, take care.
All right.
So, wow, that was wonderful. I love that guy. So,
we're approaching the new year.
Yeah, we sure are.
Somewhere in this planet. So we have something special prepared for you guys. For all of you who want to have like a nice treat during the new year, we have some friends that you'll see in a moment.
Let's take it away.
Hi, thanks for joining us again. Here we have Flavia. She's going to be discussing a little bit about our mocktail competition. So again, what we did was we put together 3 different drinks which have no alcohol, so that you can celebrate the new year with a clear mind and a clear heart. And so we have 3 different drinks that we put together, and Flavia is going to talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. So today, I'm the ambassador for the Peachtree Healthy Eating Show. If you know about the show, it's all about making things better, making food better, making drinks better, because we all want the enjoyment, but also the health that comes with it. We don't want to feel bad afterwards. And sorry, translators, I should know better. So yes, it's about making drinks better, because we want the enjoyment and the fun, but we don't want the headache and we don't want the cloudy head afterwards. And it's the same with food. It's the thing that we are working on in the Peachtree Healthy Eating Show. So in this case, we are making 3 different kinds of mocktails. So one is like a nice iced tea. It's really nice for you to make it before, if you are receiving people at home, for example. You can make it 2 hours before and have it ready. That is really easy to have people and have drinks ready, right? And then we have another 2. These 2 need to be made at the moment. And one is a mango mule. We were inspired by this Russian drink. It's a mule. So we make this mango mule. And the other one is a rosemary blueberry smash. So this is basically what we are trying to do. We are going to make everybody try these drinks, and everyone is going to vote. And then we're going to have a winner, and we are going to give you as a gift the recipe for the 3 drinks. And also we want to share with you about Peachtree Healthy Eating Show, the trailer. If you didn't see the show yet, or if you don't know about the show yet, we want to show you a little more about that when the guys are ready. We are making this new menu for people, and we want them to enjoy it. But also we want to make it healthy. How can we make food that is attractive to people all around the world with different cultures?
How are we going to change the culture of this town? Like, it's not going to happen the first day, or what do you guys think?
This whole beautiful cafe idea is an idea about growing a healthy community around a little cafe in a very, very small, sweet town. But you know, it's really hard to change people's tastes. You have to do it a little at a time. And it has to be delicious, or they're not going to want to eat it.
That's going to be a difficult one, because like, how can you make a cinnamon roll better than a cinnamon roll?
And it's an amazing way to bring inspiration to people. So a lot of people come and they're looking for food, and then it really opens up to like what even eating healthy can do for you. You know, it's only up to us to take care of ourselves, and we need to do it. We need to be strong. We need to be healthy to make change in the world. Hopefully a seed is planted there, and then a whole new way of being could come to be.
I don't believe in one perfect recipe. I believe in connecting with people. I think that if we use food to help each other, what is it that we cannot achieve if we are together?
This is textbook.
Oh,
my
this is
God.
beautiful.
It's the theory of making your own food at your own home more healthy. I think the most important thing is that we have a community around the world of people who want to try to change the eating habits of the world. So I'm very happy with the meeting.
Okay, so we are back. So we are back with our mocktails, and now we have the jury is going to try all of the mocktails and deliberate and choose the first one. So the left to right, the first one is the iced tea. It's a lemongrass iced tea, and this is the one that you can make ahead and have it ready. So please give it a try.
Wow.
Happy New
Looks
Year.
beautiful. Happy New Year.
Without the hangover.
Without the hangover.
Happy.
A truly happy New
Truly
Year.
Yummy.
There's a bit of a bitterness. What is that?
Yes, we have lemongrass and jasmine tea and green tea, and you can change the tea just to make it closer to your liking. But the idea is that it's going to have a kick to it, and it's really good for digestion. It was Juan was saying that.
Yeah, it has a nice, you really get the tea flavor comes through. It's beautiful.
So let's say you have a very heavy dinner. This will be a perfect drink to after the dinner, kind of
Or
like
if you're
digestive Bacon, right? Or something like that.
Yes, and if you are sleeping, you can have the green tea and wake up.
Wake up. And it has nice crunchy bits of lemongrass.
Yes,
It's
yes, that is,
delicious.
if you want, you can eat it,
Yeah.
or you can just chew on it, or no. It's
Yes.
your choice.
And we have 4 minutes until countdown.
Okay, so
So
try.
drink, choke it.
I like the lemongrass. I went to the oldest yoga center in the world, in India, and they always say lemongrass is the key. Yeah. Okay, ready
So
for the
what's
second?
next? What's the next drink?
This next one is blueberry and rosemary.
It's beautiful.
And this is just a more European-inspired drink.
Happy New Year's.
And in a few minutes, we're going to be cutting to the New Year's ball drop, okay? So everybody get ready for that. We still have a few more minutes.
In New York City.
In New York City. Ooh.
Yeah, this is a much softer, much smoother drink.
Maybe this could be before dinner. It's a really nice drink, like before dinner. And like I said, this is a European inspired. This was Asian inspired with the tea and the lemongrass. And this one is Russian inspired.
Is
So
that
we have a
rosemary?
little bit. Yes, that's
Fresh
rosemary.
rosemary.
Yes.
Fresh rosemary. And it has a lot of sparkle.
Yes.
It's very spritzy and, invigorating. Delicious.
That's the only plant in Arizona that all winter the bees are using it.
2 minutes, so we're going to have
Oh,
to...
Drink, drink, drink.
What's this third one?
This is the mango mule. It's inspired in Russian drink that is called mule, but it has mango, so it's more tropical.
Okay.
Maybe for kids too.
Tropical Russian.
Good for
Okay.
kids.
And so when the
Tropical Russian, yeah, it's a good mix.
when the time is just right, our tech guy is going to go ahead and just cut straight to the video when he knows the time is right.
Okay. This has cucumber. It's very refreshing.
Yeah, very refreshing. Like it would be great on the beach.
We can keep this one for Mexico in the
If
summer.
you don't have the bees, you can just drink this. And...
So who's the,
Think
which
about
one,
the beach.
which one's the best one?
Okay, well let's go ladies first.
Okay. I love them all. I'm going to choose the green tea drink. It's very refreshing, a little bit bitter.
Tim Lowenhout, director of this. Yeah.
The first one as well.
Oh.
I gotta go for the second one because it makes me feel grown up.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. So we're getting ready to cut to our New Year's ball drop. Everyone, we're going to get ready to count down pretty soon with everyone in Beijing and in that side of the world. So let's get ready for that video any second now.
How do we get these recipes?
That's going to be on our, you got to sign up for our mailing list and we'll send you the recipes. We just got news from our tech table. We get to do the countdown live with you guys. Because we got a little bit of technical difficulties with our video, but that's to be expected. But we're very excited to do the countdown live. So Stanley, can you tell us how many seconds we have left? 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New
Festive drink.
Wonderful 2023, everyone.
Cheers.
No.
Great.
Conflict-free drinks.
Conflict-free New Year's. That's right. All right. So,
wrap up, Jesse?
what's next? I think that's the end of our show for today, folks. We still have some time left according to the schedule, but we're all having such a great time here that we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So, and I'm sure the translators are loving how fast I'm talking right now. So we're working on it. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. This was our first show. We're having a great time to be with you, and we're going to keep working to make it better and better and better so that we can keep spreading the news around the Worldview organizations. As you can see, we have an incredible group, so including all of our viewers.
I'd like to repeat that if you're in an organization that's in the Worldview Network, we're going to have another show January 21st, January 22nd on the Chinese New Year. And we would love to have a video from you. We'd love to interview you. We'd love to talk about your upcoming programs. This show, Peachtree World News, is for you. It's for the whole family, Worldview Network of organizations, and wherever you are in New York City or Shanghai or I don't know, Buenos Aires, we're interested in putting you on the show and interviewing you, Daniel.
Yeah, there is one important thing that when I got flustered, I forgot about, and I remember now, and I'm so glad I remembered. We want to thank everyone involved with helping put this show together. Okay, so in no particular order, our tech team was really amazing. We had Osiris Luciano helping us editing videos. Yeah, we had Brian Mendoza working really hard on his trip. He's overseas and he's still working hard. He helped to put the splash page together as well as the QR codes for us. We have Gina Rivera who made our logos. Yeah. So Gina, thank you so much. The logo's awesome. Everybody see that? That's Gina right there. Hot, right? Okay, and we also have the entire translation team. I can't forget about you guys working really hard because I'm talking really fast.
Right now?
Right now. Yeah, so thank you so much for all that hard work and for being patient. And you guys can send me an email to remind me to talk slower. So thank you very much for that. We really want to thank Tim Lowenharp and Seiji Arao. Yep. These guys have been doing events like this for many years now, and we had to pick their brains for them to teach us. In fact, Seiji's on the tech table right now, so we want to thank him very much. As well as a friend of ours, Jim, who came and set everything up for us. So we really want to thank Jim.
Jim Shalifu.
Jim Shalifu. Cool.
His real name is Shalifu.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Not surprised. Okay, so then especially want to give a thanks to Noor, Seiji, and Geshe for their amazing Peacock Warrior program.
And in the chat, I think we have the dates for the next Peacock Warrior program coming up in April, I think.
Great, yeah, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be sending out information on that as well. So we want to thank everyone who participated in the interviews, including JB and Nick, and as well as Allison and Stanley, of course. I mean, we want to thank Allison and Stanley big time for a lot of things, but especially for being in our show for the interviews. So thank you so much, guys. We also want to thank Connie, Aldo, the Russian group, Anton, who's the lady who read the poem? Marie. Today's poems from Germany. Manuela, yeah. So everyone that read poems, we really want to thank you guys. We're actually going to be continuing with the poem theme for the New Year's, Chinese New Year's event. So we'll be sending out a request for more poems soon. They can't hear you. What are you saying?
Okay, we also want to thank Three Jules because our friends from New York helped us making a beautiful video that we want to show with you. So yeah, thank you. Hector is doing a great job over there and all his team over there. It's great community. I've been there a little bit. It's great. Yeah.
And again, a very special thank you to Jenny and her group in Singapore and Malaysia, all her groups, all the hard work she's doing, all the support back behind the scenes. So thank you so much. And last but not least, we want to ask Geshe Michael to please stay and please keep teaching forever and forever. Please keep teaching us.
If we have another mocktail contest in the Chinese New Year, I'll come.
All right, it's a deal. We're gonna have
History, healthy eating, new mocktails.
we're gonna have a new mocktail contest coming up to you guys. So let's
the video.
The video we played the video already for the
No.
Three jewels.
The Three Jewels
Oh,
video.
oh, do we have it now?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? We want to just show you because they did such a good job on that video. They did some hard work. It's a little bit late, but we want to share the video that was supposed to play during the countdown. So enjoy this video from the Three Jewels. Thank you guys for making this.
I'm Sarah Blackburn, and I'm here with some of my friends from Three Jewels, New York City. And right now, we are in the center of Times Square. We wanted to come down early and tell you Happy New Year and wish you warm wishes like health and happiness and patience. So, this year on December 31st, the ball will drop right here.
There it is. Great. So thank you guys very much for that. We really appreciate the hard work going down to Times Square. And Juan's going to give one last special message.
Which one?
I don't know, but it's going to be special.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I wish for this New Year to come. You know, in Mexico, probably many places over the world, you eat grapes and that, right? And you make wishes. What?
We got a toast. I know.
Yeah.
Sure. So let's make a toast for this year to come to be full of wisdom, love, friendship, fun, health, and success.
And especially peace.
Peace.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye guys, we'll see you next month.
Thank you.